Hey everybody, wanted to welcome you to RMI 670. That's Risk Management and Insurance, and it's the graduate level class. So excited to teach this one again. I've been doing this, can't remember if it's the fifth time. Sounds about right. It's a number. Anyway, I like to teach this class. It's one of my favorites because the graduate level classes are always fun because the abilities are so much higher and the experience is so much broader that you get a chance where the students can actually learn from each other. And that's really kind of cool. You don't always get that in undergraduate level classes. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of put together a video to tell you a little bit about what to expect. Since this class is going to be 100% online, we don't have a fixed day or time like you might have had in some of the other hybrid classes. So I wanted to show you kind of what you're in for here. Let's go ahead and just take a quick minute to look over the syllabus. So let me go ahead and download that here. You should have seen this by now, or at least have access to it by now. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. Regular Word document here. Give me just a second. Oh, and I bet you can't see that very well. Let's see here. Well, I guess you could pull it up on your own if you needed to. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Online section. I'm Kevin Gatzlaff. That's my name. Yep, I got a PhD. So I guess if you wanted to, sure, Dr. Gatzlaff is fine. Professor Gatzlaff is fine. I'm not too picky there. My office is in the business building in the top corner, across from the department office. If you happen to physically be on campus and wanted to visit me, that's where you do it. I can promise you I will be there between those two times. Between 10 to 10:45, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, also 12 to 12:45. I've got an 11 o'clock in between there. So that works real well. If you actually were on campus and you wanted to see me, that would work fine. I'm aware we have a lot of students who are not on campus. So emailing me to set up a phone call. And if you wanted to show me something, I guess it could be a Zoom call if we needed to. Pretty easy to do. But I'm thinking if you need to talk to me, the easiest way is probably going to be sending me an email and we'll set up a time. I'd be surprised if those times are real convenient for everybody in this class, given that it's graduate to begin with. And we've got people spread all over, really all over the world, which is kind of cool. The textbook, the best way to get that is to rent it online through the bookstore. If you buy the physical textbook, it's about $250. That's I hesitate to ask people to spend that much. I think the easier way to do that is to do an online rental. The bookstore is the source that I know. There could be other sources, but I would recommend doing that. And the sooner the better. That'll help you. You can read through course objectives. As far as attendance while in an online class, then watching the online lectures, yeah, I expect you to do that. And this isn't going to be a problem like it sometimes is with undergraduate online classes. It's just hard to participate if you're not going to be watching lectures and taking notes. You can use your notes on the exams, so that's something that you're going to want to do while you're watching the lectures, is taking notes here. We'll have 4 exams. They're all short answer. I hesitate to call them essay. I don't think they're quite that long. I want to contain them. I don't want them to take too much time. So you'll see we have time limits on the exams. They'll be between 10 to 15 questions. So you really don't have much more than, it's a 2-hour time limit. So you got about 10 minutes a question. Rough idea there on how, so you don't have time to write me pages on every single question. You really have a couple paragraphs max. So you'll see that as we move along here. We have assignments. So half the grade is exams, half the grade is assignments. Extra credit generally isn't something that we need in a graduate level class, but if we do, everybody will have access to that. You'll see that I've got a grading scale already figured out here. And once you put that in your syllabus, you're locked in. So if you need a certain grade, well, go ahead and look and see how many points you need. And then just remember half of the points are coming from exams, half are coming from assignments. I've got kind of a unique way of grading exams that you might not have experienced before. I'll talk more about that when we actually get to exams, but it's something that allows me to turn them around relatively quickly. And on the flip side, it requires me to get into a score that you're more used to seeing. I have to apply an adjustment. It's not difficult, but that's something that I just want to warn you is coming. So you'll be ready for that. Again, more once we get there. If you've got accommodations that you need, please let me know. Sooner the better, so I can make sure you have what you need. And then all the syllabi at the university have to have this statement on it. So there it is. You can read through that at your leisure if you like. Here's kind of our schedule and how this works. So the way that I'm planning on doing this, every week we have a module. Every week has a lecture. That lecture is about 2 hours. So you can watch it in snippets if you want, or you can sit down and watch the whole thing, but it's recorded. So you can come back and do that however makes sense for you. That's okay. I would just encourage you to be in a place where you can take notes when you're doing that. It'll just make the exams a lot easier to handle if you have something to refer back to while you're in the middle of that, so that you don't say, wow, we covered so much, I really don't remember what we were getting at when he's asking this question. Because as you'll see, these questions are very much based on the course and what we talked about in the assignments that we did. It's not the kind of thing you can type into Google and hope that you'll get some sort of useful answer back. I don't know how else to describe it. When you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, the exam dates, I want to stay close to those. So it's a tentative schedule, but I won't change the exam dates. If I have to change the material that's on an exam and move from one exam to the other, maybe I'll do that. But I won't change the exam dates, and you'll have a week to complete them. So the pattern that I'm going to come into here is on Friday, I want to make the following week's material available. And then the due date for your class will always be Sunday at midnight. So you'll have 2 weekends, one on either side. And that's as flexible as I can make it and still make it a cohort-based class where people are proceeding at the same time. So that's something I don't have the flexibility to do. It's not really a work at your own pace course. In other words, I won't have the entire course available and then you just do it when you feel like it. We do have to proceed week by week. And that's, again, not my decision. That's something I'm told to do. So they want students to go through the process at the same time. You'll see we do discussion boards. And because of that, that's something that we need to keep everybody kind of operating on the same pace. But I am sensitive to your work schedules and things like that. I want to try to maximize flexibility here. So I am going to try to give you a weekend on the front and a weekend on the back to make sure that you have as much flexibility as possible. So yeah, that's something that you will see shortly after this welcome video is posted. I'll put the first week material up, so there shouldn't be much of a gap there. So for sure, by the end of the day on Friday, the following week's material will be available, even though the previous week's material isn't quite due. If you wanted to wait until the absolute last minute, yeah, you'd still have a couple days. Sunday is the deadline. And then hopefully that'll help us with flexibility there. Anyway, so you see our topics here, and then you see where they're located in the textbook. And then we'll have some outside readings and we'll have some outside assignments. The first 2 weeks are actually pretty intense. If you can handle those 2, the rest will be fine. Those are actually where we expect the most, is in the first 2 weeks. So it might seem like an awful lot. Better days are coming. If you can get through those first 2 weeks, I think then it's all downhill from there. It's not quite so challenging there. It's a graduate level class. There has to be rigor. At the same time, I want to be respectful of your time. One of the things that you'll see that I'm doing, I'm using pre-recorded lectures because it takes an awful lot of time to re-record myself saying the same thing. That doesn't strike me as a wise use of anybody's time. What I'd rather do is spend that into addressing one of the weaknesses of this course, which has always been, how do you get students to learn from each other in a way that doesn't take too much time? And I think discussion boards are ideal. So if it does take time to read through all that stuff, but I find it really, really interesting from the courses that we've had people take, and then from the experiences people have had, because we've all got so many different experiences in this class, that if you read everybody's answer to a question, you learn an awful lot. I want you to do that, and it's worth it. I promise you that. I'm not really going to assign a grade for the reading part. I assign a grade for the participation part, for you doing your part. So I'm not going to chase you around and make sure that you've read everybody else's. There's not really a good way to do that, but I do promise you it'll be worth your time if you do that, or at least it's my goal to make it worth your time. I think that's the way to include some more depth to the course that doesn't take too much time. Like I said, I'm sensitive that most of you are working. Many of you have families. I know what both of those things are like, and then this is extra on top of that. So I'm real sensitive to the amount of time that I'm asking you to spend, and I'm trying to do this in a way that respects that. So you'll see that here. Okay, so our final exam, this is final exam week. It's not a comprehensive exam, it's just our 4th unit exam, and by then you'll be real familiar with exams and what they look like. And again, you'll have a week to complete exams, really a week and a couple days. If next week were an exam week, I would want to open it at the end of the day Friday, and it would stay open until the following Sunday. So you really have, 9 days? Trying to keep that as flexible as possible there to help you with. Okay, so that's the syllabus. A couple other things I need to say about the course itself. This is not a repeat of RMI 270. It looks to me like there's a couple people in this class who I've had in RMI 270 and actually some other RMI courses. This is not a repeat, or it's not intended to be a repeat of any of that. For example, in 270, we go deep into homeowners. We go deep into auto coverage. We're not going to do that in the graduate level class. We do have to talk a little bit about risk management and what it looks like, but my primary focus is risk management from a business perspective. And one of the things I really like about teaching this class is I ran a business before I became a professor. So this was always the way I approached everything. I just didn't know it was called risk management until I went through my graduate program and decided to make that my area of study. But I was always attuned to the idea of risk management that kind of underpinned how I thought about everything. So this is a nice fit in terms of having me teach this class, I've always thought. So I'm excited about this material. I'm enthusiastic about this material. And if nothing else, that's better than the alternative, right? So for a welcome video, I really don't want to take up any more of your time here. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and access the first week's video. Make sure you can access it because the sooner the better. Because if you've got technological problems, we need to solve those quickly because that's kind of the heart of the course is the lecture there. You'll see in the first week, we do have some assignments that have to be completed. One's a case assignment. One's a case assignment that I wrote, and I wrote it based on my own life experience. I exaggerated some of the things. I also use it in one of the senior level undergraduate classes. So you might say some of the stuff seems a little simplistic. That's just by design. Sometimes in order to make sure everybody recognizes what the risk is, you have to be a little dramatic about it. And I think that'll come through in the case. But it all has a basis in reality. We'll get a chance to talk about some of that, and I mentioned some of it in the lecture, so I don't want to go too far here. Anyway, you'll see what we've got due for this week real shortly, and we'll go from there. Welcome to the class. I'm excited about the semester. If you need me at any time, send me an email, not through Canvas. You can if you want, but I'm not notified when that happens, so that just sits there until I see it. If you email me at my email address, I get it right away, and so that'll probably get you the quickest response. Don't hesitate. This is what they pay me to do. So I want to help you. I'm happy to do whatever I can. So it doesn't bother me when students email me. I enjoy that because then I know that they're engaging with the course, and that's exciting. That's a fun thing as a professor. Promised I wasn't going to take any more of your time, so we're done right here. I'll have more to say in week 1. We'll go from there. Thanks a lot, you guys.